This is a show about the path less taken, a show about a rocky path, a path of patience and persistence in equal measure. What you ultimately find down this path is passion, a passion for live electronic music. Welcome to Hardware Road. And welcome to Shay Doe.
Thanks.
Thanks for being our first guest.
It's an absolute honour.
Yeah, so far. On our first show, we'll see. Hopefully it is, and it'll go down in history books. So what I want to ask you about first, most shows will ask you about your musical history, and we know you've DJ'd, and I'll ask you about that. But we're not interested in your DJ career. Sorry, DJs out there. What we're interested in is how you became a live electronic hardware performer. That's what we want to know. So how did that come about?
I'm glad that we're not talking about DJing for once. Okay, well, I guess it's something that it's been in my bones from, the very early ages since I was little, because my dad was into that sort of stuff. So, and also my brother. And
so he was a musician?
Yeah, definitely. So drummer, plays synths, keyboards,
right.
singer. Yeah. Same as my brother. He obviously studied, audio, and he's always had the synths. And when he heard that I was DJing, he was like, "Come on, man, you can do better than that."
Yeah.
So I've always had that, kind of push to go towards hardware. And then finally, I bought a couple of synths, and my brother's like, "Well, welcome to being a real artist now." So it's about time.
I would like to disagree with him, but, everybody, does their... I have nothing against DJs, of course. It is an art form in itself, especially if you're playing records. So it's no mean feat.
That's how I started.
I've always had respect for people who can beat mix with records, that's for sure. So... But even, mixing is an art in itself as well. So, and that's what we do pretty much is in our own way. We mix. It's a progression from, as you said, so you were a DJ. Like, how much of a step was it then to move into the hardware realm?
Well, I was, obviously producing a little bit, DJing, and I actually got really heavily into it during the COVID lockdown. So I don't know if you know Colin Benders and Modular Mayhem.
Of course we know.
The crew?
Yeah, of course we do, yeah.
Massive part of my life during the COVID lockdown was, a group of those guys. And I remember being literally living on that platform on their Discord channel. And
all right, yeah, okay. Yes, because Colin was doing those live modular videos during COVID. Yeah, I remember
definitely,
those.
Because I think he kind of brought the whole massive wall spaceship, as we like to call it. And he was obviously booked to do some major, gigs, and then lockdown happened, and he was like, "Shit, what am I going to do with this?" So he decided to, open up, and he was like, "Let's hang out, let's learn."
So you were like in a chat sort of thing, or was it?
Kind of, because I was pretty much there all the time. I got really close with like a group of friends over there, and we were from all over the globe. And what we did was, I guess we turn on our cameras, and I'd be in my lounge room putting together my stuff, and there'll be someone in France, Piff Paff, my mate. There will be guys in Holland, Germany, everywhere, and we'd be live on there hanging out and talking synths, and someone will be jamming on some, and like those guys really, like, they helped me so much. Yeah. Obviously they helped me get through the COVID because I was living by myself in an apartment in a lockdown.
Yeah, right, okay.
But and Colin doing all of those things with us, he would talk us through everything that he was doing. He would go through all the patches and why do we do things, and we'd ask the stupidest questions, but honestly I learned so much. And then I enrolled into his masterclass, which was amazing. And then lockdown finished, I applied for like a fully paid scholarship through Victorian Arts and the government, and MES.
So this was your modular synthesis course that you were that I read about.
Yes.
So okay, because that was one of my questions. So we might as well roll into that then. So yeah. So tell us about that course.
Well, I mean, I just handed something in that I was pretty much tuning 2 synths, recorded it and handed it in, and I was very surprised that, they called me up and they said, because they had 2 free spots where it was fully paid scholarship, and they said, congratulations, you're in. I was like, what? Are you sure?
Yeah. Me?
So, and really that was the final push, and I was like, okay, shit.
Well, you got to it's all go now, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I mean,
cool.
I spent over a year, a couple of days a week for quite a few hours in mess in North Melbourne. So, we got to try pretty much every synth. Got taught, so much and so many tricks of the trade with some of the, really well-known artists around Australia. They would do some conferences with us and go through some of the stuff. So it was really like the real big push. And then,
So you were saying, we were chatting earlier when you were setting up your hardware, your rig here. And this is something, that when I agreed with you, it wasn't until I also started, I didn't go and do a course or anything, I've taught myself, but it wasn't until I got into modular synths and I had to literally hardwire it myself that I learned, okay, this is how synthesis works. Because a lot of our machines are hardwired, aren't they? So it's not until you wire it yourself that you end up going, okay, and then... Yeah, anyway, that helps you learn about synthesis.
I think
totally agree. You
definitely need to go down the path of subtractive synthesis, particular. So
there's additive as well, but
but I mean that I found that was kind of like the back end of the system for me, and I had to learn like everything inside the synthesizers and behind the scenes, and my brain likes to think of 8 different processes at the same time, and what can I possibly do, and how can I make changes to the sounds, like down to that voltage, 1 voltage, if you like.
Yeah, so, basically, we work in voltages, in case people didn't know, Even those hardwired synths, they're working in voltages, basically. Even your zeros and ones on your digital synths as well. So let's. I want to ask you. We could talk about that all day, but we'll diverge into. I wanted to ask you because we know the DJ scene. A lot of advances has been made for LGBTQI plus and female representations in the DJ scene. Like we can see that that's going fairly well as far as I can see anyway. I mean, I'm a white male, so I'm going to plead a bit of ignorance there. But it seems to me anyway to be going well. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of female DJs, especially younger ones that are coming through the scene. And my question to you is because hardware is still, and especially live hardware, is still very male dominated. Yeah. So I don't know how to phrase the question, but I suppose how do you feel in what is still a male dominated art form? I suppose
it's an interesting question, and I think in a way, because I've always gotten along with males, no offence to any females, I love everyone equally. It's just the way I'm wired. I get along with guys because I can talk about synths and male things for days, I guess. But definitely.
I've noticed that. Just quickly on a side note, we haven't known each other very long. We played at a gig, and it's where we first met, and that because there was 8 other acts. Including ourselves, well, actually 7, including you and me, and there's a message thread, and I think you talk about hardware more than the guys do. So
sorry, I was like, shit. What's going to come out now?
No, I'm just saying, like you're basically talking about synths and hardware and everything. You're more vocal than everybody else is basically. So your passion for it is even larger than all of ours, It's
what I do 24/7.
Yeah.
I think. And sometimes I drive my brother insane, so it's good that you guys are kind of taking that leverage off him so I can talk to you guys about it. I mean, everyone that I meet, producers will ask me about it that don't necessarily use hardware, and it's something that I enjoy doing, and hopefully I can make synths one day or sequences or whatever we talk about.
So, but you end up having to talk to all us blokes, I suppose, don't you? So it's good that you feel comfortable. That's good for me to hear anyway. Like, I'm glad that you feel comfortable talking to all of us. On the whole, the scene is a pretty good scene. I mean, nothing's perfect. It never is. There's always your outliers, and there's always going to be problems everywhere you go. That's just just life, right? And especially as a female artist, you got to be a little bit more protective, I suppose. You know.
Yeah, there's a lot of It is hard for female artists in general, and I've been in like different scenes, not necessarily techno, not necessarily hardware, and it was kind of there's the bullshit that comes with all of the scenes really, and it is a lot harder for women, I think. While
you
some
think it's
people
got any better? Well, then obviously you've been around for a little while.
Is
it getting better?
There's a lot of shit that we need to uncover from under the rug, basically, and I'm an big advocate for some of that. I'm here to, be the voice for all the females and try and take them under my wing and let's go. This is how, you can do it, because it is daunting.
How do we encourage more females? Because it's very, I run a collaborative modular group called Modular Theme Time. And we've been around since 2019, and I have at times reached out to the community, and we do have actually people from the LGBTQI plus community. It just happens to be they're all male, or not all of them, but most of them are male or previously, they were born as male.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so it's still very low representation, and I'm just wondering if there's a way to encourage more females into the hardware scene, I suppose.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that you have a community, because I didn't really know about it, and I apologise. And I think don't apologise. We need to create that awareness, and I think that's exactly what it is. So we need to kind of, you can get really involved in it and not necessarily realise that people don't know about it. So, and I'm keen to, and you guys are amazing artists. Like, I've just met majority of you, and I was like, holy shit, you guys need to get out there more. Yeah, we're sort of,
it was funny, we're underground still.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, so this is what I'm doing this radio show, basically to sort of bring us out of
where the hardware resistance.
The cave. The hardware resistance, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Renaissance, resistance. We're all
whatever you want
those
to call
things.
Us, we're coming. We're staying.
So okay, that's it's good to know.
Yeah,
right,
I think it's just to close that off, it's awareness, and what I'm doing is I'm taking some of the girls under my wing and sort of, because they're like, holy shit, how do you do this? I've always wanted to do this. And I'm like, well, if you're passionate enough and you're willing to put in the work, I'm happy to take you on, mentor you through the parts that, up until where I can potentially take you, then you might need to find another master.
Yeah, they'll find their own route. Yeah, that usually happens.
Yeah, so I've taken two DJs on, just to finish on that.
Katie?
And and another really talented one that, you guys will meet soon. So, and
nice.
They're like natural straight away. They're straight into it, jamming. So let's hope to open it up for more women. And if anyone out there that's listening, obviously, just reach out to us, ask us. I don't want to just have blokes asking me about equipment.
Yeah. In the meantime, though, you're more than happy to ask us questions and bother us about it.
Yeah.
Let's move on. I know you have a few tracks that are unreleased on Instagram, or the ones that you've teased us with. When can we expect to hear some released tracks from Shay Doe?
Yeah, so last year I had a bit of a tough year personally. So this year it's showtime.
Nice.
Like, I'm not stopping.
Yeah.
I'm knocking down every gate. Nothing's going to stop me. So I've kind of hit the ground running, and there's like so much. All these gigs have all of a sudden blown up, which I'm so grateful for. And, obviously got to go overseas and trying to learn the synths that I'm buying, trying to do all the shows. Well,
that was my next question is tell us about your overseas tour of America, I believe.
Yeah, in the US, going to the OG town of techno, in my opinion, Detroit.
Detroit, yeah.
I
It is,
still
as far
don't
as we
think
know.
it's the realization has settled. I'm kind of still shocked, and like the documentary that I shared with the group last night, I was like, holy shit, it's really happening. Like I'm going to the place where it's, you know, the legends are born. So I'm really stoked about that. And the guys that invited me, they're from New York, actually. So there's a couple of collaboration teams that get involved in this show. It's pretty niche, and they kind of still keep it underground and obviously hardware only. And it's 100% techno hardware.
No computers, no DAWs, no pushers.
No. I don't even think anyone is going to use the machines that you guys like. No, the other ones.
What, the machine? Electrons?
I'm not saying that name.
Hey. We won't get into that. We won't get into that.
That uses them, but yeah.
I didn't hear you complaining the other night when it was during the day, but when it was being awesome. Smashed out. That was the machine drum.
To finish that off, so the two guys from New York, actually, I spoke to them back during lockdown in 2019, and they noticed that I was doing hardware stuff and studying, and they were like, hey, can we just like give you some tips, which I was so grateful for. He was like, you know, get some videos out there of you doing this. There's not many females doing it, and do this. And they were kind of pushing me. And how many years later now? We're in, holy shit, it's been quite like almost 5 years. I'm like doing it now full time, and they were like, hey, you ready to come down? And I was like, I totally forgot. That is like amazing. I'm so grateful. Yes, hell yeah, let's do this. So that's how that happened.
Nice.
And hopefully I can
have a ball.
Represent everyone.
Represent
from down
Australia. I mean, you know, we really, once again, you know, we really want to push Melbourne. Me personally, I want us to be the new Berlin. I want us to be, you know,
there's so resistance of hardware.
There's so many people out there that do play, that can play live and do play live. They're just not getting the platforms. But anyway, we're getting sidetracked again. So speaking about hardware artists, so besides yourself, is there any artist that you would recommend that people checked out?
Yourself?
Yeah, I knew you'd say that. Thank you. That's
probably all of our colleagues that we played with, part of the resistance, which we can share.
Like globally, you'd say like someone, obviously Colin.
Yeah, Colin definitely.
Colin Benders, that is, for those who don't know who we're talking about.
The Dark Lord.
Surgeon is an obvious one.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to see him in Detroit with.
He'll be there. Nice.
Yes. Really keen for that.
And you'll meet him there, I assume. Playing the same stage?
No, actually, no. So they're doing like the day festival thing. We're doing more of an underground thing.
Oh, okay.
Friday night.
Okay, yeah. He's a headliner.
Yeah, I'm still underground.
Still underground.
I'm happy to stay underground.
Yeah. So in saying that, obviously Colin inspired you. Do you have any other hardware artists that inspire you?
Definitely. I think I'm always sharing stuff from a lot of the people that inspire me. Apart from the people that
because I'm terrible with names too. So if you don't remember any, that's okay.
Hans Zimmer obviously is a massive influence.
Yeah.
You know, because I do a lot of that's what interests me, kind of the cinematic kind of stuff, which is what I want to really get more involved in. It's not just about, I mean, everyone sees me and they straight away they think, holy shit, hard techno and kicks, and that's not what I'm about.
A lot of electronic music producers over the years score. Yeah. You know, that's sort of where they move into. They get so popular and they hear their music and they go, oh, we want that style of music for our score on this TV series or blah, blah, blah. But yes, so yeah, it's a progression. So any other people that you can think off your head? That's okay, we can move on if you want.
Yeah, so many. I mean, not necessarily hardware live artists. I listen to a lot of, you know, classical music as well. That's what I grew up listening to, so anything really.
Yeah. Oh, music in general. Yeah, listen to music, people. Okay, so if you were to give one piece of advice to people that are thinking about getting into live electronic performance, what would it be?
Just one?
Just try to grab one. I know there's a lot. What would be the key thing that you would let them know?
So get into it for the right reasons. I think having spoken to a lot of artists that have reached out to me and said, hey, I heard you're doing this mentoring thing. I really want to get involved. I'm keen to do this. And then when I kind of have a 5-minute conversation with them, I realise that they're just wanting to do it for the show, or they're wanting to do it to push their DJing, the whole popularity stuff that's kind
sort
of in
like
the scene.
expand their portfolio,
and
so
they think
to speak.
they're just going to gain popularity, and I think that's, and we all, I'm sure you guys can vouch for that. I mean,
well, everybody wants a bit of a stage. I mean, we all do. I mean, we wouldn't perform if we didn't, but I suppose there's levels, isn't there? So
look, I think for me, it's like, in my opinion, everyone that I've met that plays hardware, they're not in it for the popularity. They're in it for, because they love the stuff, and there's it's really something else for them. There's like a connection on a different level, and I think that's what people that want to get involved in it, because they need to be aware that it's not going to be a popularity thing. You don't do it for that. You do it because you're passionate about it. It's a 24/7 thing for you. That's all you think about. That's all you talk about. And be ready to spend thousands of dollars, because it's not cheap.
And years. It's taken me. I had a few years early on in my in the early 2000s. I fiddled around a little bit, but I've just come back into it probably 2015, 2016. I've spent 7 years.
Yeah.
Well, the last 7 or 8 years now, just pursuing it, as you say, out of just pure passion, and you end up falling in love with it, and you do it all the time. That's why you're doing it. It's because you have the love to experiment with sound and perform and make the music.
Yeah.
With hardware. I mean, I don't know I don't know how to describe it. But
It's a different connection, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, have you ever sat down and thought about and added all of the things that you brought and how much money you've spent?
Yeah, I wouldn't say the amount on here.
Yeah, no. I'm not asking you, but I mean, this is the advice that I would give people. So I sit down and I'm like,
You can actually, there is, and I will say this for the audience as well. I mean, you don't need to spend a lot of money. You can, obviously you can, but a lot of people hate Behringer, but they are manufacturing products that are cheap. And if you want to just test the waters, you can do that. That's at least what they're doing, Behringer.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, they give you a platform to come in and go, okay, I can buy these things cheap. I can see if this is my thing, and if it's not, I'll just flog them off cheap again, right? It's like you didn't have to spend 10 grand. You can spend 2.
But how many people do you know though that have tried it and given it up?
I don't know any personally, but that's my point.
Exactly. So this is why let's be quite open and transparent with them. Be prepared to spend money.
But you don't have. But I think it's a journey that takes years, and so you can save up for that next piece of equipment, right? That you so sorely want, or if you saw someone play with and you go, oh, I want that piece of equipment. Okay, so I'm going to have to save up for it. But in the meantime, you've got other toys to play with.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can also learn on your computer. I mean, you can learn lots of stuff on a DAW.
That's not hardware though.
Yeah, I know, but you can start there. I mean, I started there. I started on Fruity Loops in 1999. So, that's where I started. So who am I to judge if, you're going to start on a DAW?
Yeah, exactly. There's the VCV on, for those who actually, that's a good point.
That's right.
So there is a VCV that they can use if they don't want to build a Eurorack that's going to cost them 15 grand.
You could learn
a kidney.
You could learn modular on the PC or your Apple or whatever
and you
want
can
to do.
patch and
that's right. So speaking of it's funny. So my next question was: is gas a real thing?
Yeah.
What's gas for our audience?
Gear acquisition syndrome.
Correct. Yes.
I think it's serious. It's a problem.
Yeah.
For everyone. I've not met anyone that's recovered from it. I think we're doomed forever.
Addicts?
No, there's no such thing. No. One
it
patch
continues.
that's all it takes.
Yeah, it's we call Eurorack, once you get into it and get into the scene, you find a lot of people end up calling it Eurocrack.
Yeah,
Yes.
because you'll end up buying a spaceship wall of modules.
I have one of those, yes.
And then you buy empty cases that are sitting there to be filled. Just
I
another
don't
module,
actually know. I have
$800 later.
I have an overflow box. That's what I have. Terrible. I'm terrible. Okay, so I think I suppose my final question is about what you've brought in today. We'll finish up the interview and we'll move into your live jam. Maybe you can tell us what you've brought in and tell us a bit about.
It's still a building process. I'm still buying. There's still a couple of synths, as you know, we've just discussed.
Yeah, but I see. So I see. Let me explain to the audience here. So I see a couple of Arturias. One's the drum brute. Is that brute?
Drum brute.
Drum
Impact.
brute. So that's for your percussion and your drums.
Yep. M-Bass 11, which is like the 909 kick.
So the Jomox, this is Jomox mod bass. Yeah, 11. So that's your kick.
Well, I alternate between that and the Impact, but drum brute is definitely my percussion go-to.
So it's the Arturia Impact, that is?
Yes. So it's also a drum brute. It's the Impact range. I believe they made it for techno enthusiasts because the kick is not very punchy on the drum brute.
Yeah, okay.
So it's a shame. Like they kind of downsize on the percussion and put in the snares and whatever else, which I don't really use. So
yeah, no snares.
Not too much. I mean,
yeah, it's funny. I don't use a lot of snares
and
either.
Claps. Like that's one rule I have. If anyone wants to collaborate with me, there's no claps.
There's no claps.
Nah, can't
Are
do
you going to
claps.
hate me then if we jam it later? I'll see if I can convince you. But anyway. I might even. Well, I'm trying to convince you on a machine drum, but anyway.
No.
So we have the Roland TD. Is it TB?
TB3. Sorry.
TB3 for your acid lines.
Yes, I've tried a couple, and I've got a couple of the acid synths at home, and I find that this one's the best one for me because I like to use my hands, and there's a screen, and kind of there's like a few different tricks that I can use with that because everything I do is more of a improvised kind of thing rather than having that regular sequencer activated.
We'll get back onto improvisation in a second, actually. I want to come back to that.
And my main, I think...
The Lyra.
Yeah.
That's your baby.
That's like an extension of me, if you like. That's it's definitely a beast that you have to kind of bond with, and different people get different sounds out of it. Yeah, it's really something that you've got to spend time with. Otherwise, a lot of people buy it and they're like, holy shit, I can't control this. It's just wild. So you've got to really, because like 1 millimetre turn and everything just changes completely and your entire set. So it's really a patience thing that you've got to kind of learn with the synth, and it responds to different people differently. I just started using, my brother's pushed me to use the Pyramid Scorp, which
that's your sequencer now?
Yeah, really it's my master clock because I don't like to control things from a sequencer.
Yeah, but you're controlling your Dave Smith.
Yeah, Prophet
so
12.
final piece of gear, the Dave Smith Prophet. Yeah, 12.
I just got
so
that one.
It's a recent acquisition.
Yeah, I've got to learn it. I was pretty stoked to grab that because they obviously don't make them. So anyone who's hoarding synths, please stop hoarding them because we would love to, play them on stage. They need to be used.
I'm a bit guilty there.
Just seriously.
I will use them one day. It's just that
one day. But I'm more than happy to use them for you.
I actually do swap things out. I just need a bigger studio. I just don't have room so I have to rotate.
Happy to give you a room if you want to expand your synthesizers in there.
I might lend you something. So just let's go back actually. Let's talk about what you're going to do then. So you say you're completely improvised. And we had a little discussion the other day, and you said to me, you described it as you start from zero.
Yeah, I turn everything down. All the dials are at zero, and including the gain of all the synths, just in case if anything goes wrong and the sequencer decides to trigger them. So I normally start off with my lyra, and whatever I'm feeling on the day, whatever the vibe is in wherever I'm performing, I kind of feed off that, and I start with the lyra and see where it takes me. So like a massive long intro of drones and all sorts of sounds, and I introduce maybe the acid bass lines, and then I go from there. So really I play something different every time. It's always a journey, and I kind of see what the people's response is, whether I can push it really hard, whether I unleash all the kicks and go heavy.
So there's no patterns in your brute or anything
Nothing.
like that? So you just reset it and then just tap away?
Half of the time, some of my synths aren't even like fully working, and I realise it. I'm like, shit, turn it on.
Why can't I hear that? Yes, it happened to both.
But
of us
obviously,
on our
like
last
they
one.
all go through the MIDI through the Erica Synths one, and
everything's
that's
clocked. So
yeah.
everything's clocked through MIDI for anybody who was wondering how we get everything to be in sync.
And I've got to trigger the M bass with the
with the gate.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thanks for helping me out.
That's all right. Modular nerd that I am. All right, so I think we'll move into you having a jam. What do you say? Sweet.
Love to. Maybe we should have a jam together.
Yeah, we will do that as well. Thanks for coming and spending some time with us today. Really appreciate it, and being our first ever guest.
Can't believe it. It's an honour, honestly.
We could be, on a world stage soon. Who knows?
Yeah, well, we have to. I told you there's no stopping, and it's funny. What did you say to me this year?
I don't know. What did I say?
What are you going to do this year?
What am I? I'm being unapologetically all in for live hardware electronic music, especially in Melbourne. This radio show is part of that push.
Yeah.
To move forward with that, and I hope more people join us on this journey.
Yeah, definitely. I guess that's why we're probably all connected, because we're all in the same path, same vision, and we're here to take everyone out of their bedrooms and have them patching on a big stage, because there's so many talented artists in Melbourne. I know quite a lot of them.
And they're in their studios.
That are in their
Need to drag them
and
out.
they're bloody amazing. They're the world needs to hear them.
Yeah.
So
Thanks.
definitely.
Yeah, I agree. All right, a few shout outs just before we get into the jam. Obviously, thanks, Shay, for coming on. Thank you to David Haberfeld and David Prescott-Steed, Gregory Jack Hammer, and everyone on MGN, Marty, and everybody from Aussie Wigglers, my good friend Ashley, Kian, Levi, Fabrice. Thank you all for following us down this journey. I hope it continues. So you guys have helped me a lot, and that's why I'm sitting here today doing this radio show. And I have to mention Cindy, of course, of Area 3000, who actually gave me this opportunity to do this show. So thank you very much, Cindy. Okay, the last thing before we sign off from the microphones, a little gig guide. So we're going to be doing gig guides on here. So if you are a hardware act and you are going to be doing a gig, just get in touch with us, message us on Instagram, let us know when and where you're playing, and we'll just do a shout out on the program. At the moment, all I know about is Hardware Theory from the Cat House guys. They've been doing great work. They're one of the only event holders that we know that are doing all hardware nights, especially in clubs. As opposed to just,
there.
We have both played there, yes.
What number were you? 4?
I was number 4.
4 and 7, represent.
4, yeah.
Thanks to Cat House guys, for keeping up the and keeping the hardware theory alive.
Yeah, I think it's getting even more popular now. Yeah,
and also the sub club too. Let's not forget them.
Yeah, because, for giving them a stage.
It's an awesome place, and that team there also is amazing.
So Hardware Theory number 11 will be on the 29th of March at Sub Club. Yep. And our friend David Haberfeld, a.k.a. Honey Smack, will be headlining that show. Another all hardware night, but this is at Radio Bar, and that will be the 20th of April, and that's Hidden Sequence is the event. So keep an eye out for them and go see some live music. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
And join the resistance, guys.
Yeah.
We're here to stay.
Join us down Hardware Road.
Yep. No PCs. Teach you all of that. No software. Come to the dark side.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one. Cheerio for now.